Hey there, tech professionals. Have you ever been in a meeting with Americans and you felt that something was off? Something was off means something was weird. No small talk, just this awkward silence at the very beginning.
Swiss custom requires 10 minutes of blah, blah, blah.
Chit chat.
Yeah, chit chat, thank you, before business can be discussed. Yeah.
Were they uninterested or just rude? Or maybe you struggled with the following up with a partner who keeps delaying things, right? Who keeps saying next week, but never delivers. Today, I'm going to answer some of the popular questions that English for IT learners ask me and ask my team. By the way, who am I? I'm Anna Kontrabura, your English and effective communication coach. And this is English for Tech Professionals. And today we're starting a new series, Sunday series Ask Anna, where I'm going to answer your real life communication and English questions every Sunday. So make sure you subscribe to my channel not to miss the next video. And if you have a question, ask it. Ask it in the comments and I will answer it in my next video. And yes, thank you again for subscribing to my channel. My team and I, we're trying really hard to create content that is super useful for you and that you need. Today I have a few really interesting questions that the English for IT communication course student asked me. If you want to learn more about the course, I will drop the information in the description of this video. Now let's talk about the questions. Let's answer the questions that our student had. I had a meeting with Americans and we waited in silence, no small talk. Were they uninterested or just rude? Well, here's the thing. In some cultures, small talk is a must. In American culture, small talk is a must. In other cultures, small talk is not a must. For example, in Northern Europe, people prefer to get down to business. They see small talk as a waste of time. In Ukraine, for example, where I come from, small talk is not really popular, but it's getting more popular in the tech world because in tech, we communicate a lot with different cultures, so we kind of adapt to these cultures. There might be several reasons why in this particular situations, American colleagues or American clients didn't want to make small talk. We don't know, but I think that maybe they already had experience where they talked to the team from a different culture before and small talk was not a big thing for them. So they kind of knew that for this particular culture, small talk is not a must, right? So that's why they were silent. However, they might have been rude, but if you are speaking with Americans and you know that small talk is a big thing for them, right? It's a must for them. Why don't you start a conversation, right? You can easily do it. You can start a conversation. You can drop something like, how's your day going? What's the weather like now in Chicago, for example, if your client is calling from Chicago and things like that. So be proactive. And instead of sitting there in this awkward silence, say something. You know, it's very easy to strike up a conversation. It's really easy to start making small talk. You can just say something, how's your day going? Anything good? Anything exciting happened today? And people will start talking, right? So don't be a stranger. Use your communication skills. And I know that if you are watching my videos, if you're following, if you're subscribed to this channel, your communication skills, your soft skills are improving with every video you watch. And of course, if you've taken English for Tech Communication course, I'm pretty sure you know how to converse with people from other cultures because there is a whole module in the course where I teach cross-cultural communication differences and I tell you how to approach communication in different cultures. In a meeting with bosses on both sides, but only managers are talking, who should start the small talk or who should start the meeting? Well, in this case, it depends on the culture of the company, right? It depends on the company's hierarchy. And also it depends on the meeting format because as you know, if you have a very distinct hierarchical structure in the company, then the highest ranked person is going to speak, right? First and always. And then the person will tell other people when to speak and so on and so forth. But for example, there there are meetings that are called lean meetings. This is when the meeting has no leader and no agenda, and everyone is participating equally. Everyone has equal rights. So it really depends on the culture of the company and the format of the meeting. Let's imagine that this is a kickoff meeting with a client. What is a kickoff meeting? A kickoff meeting is the first meeting. This is an initial meeting. For such a meeting, of course, it is recommended that you have a leader, because you have to have this one person who is going to start the meeting, to lead the meeting, and to wrap it up, to finish the meeting properly. So if you have a meeting leader, then the leader is the one starting the meeting, maybe like breaking the ice, starting small talk, then everyone can pitch in a little bit. So to answer this question, you really have to know the culture of the company and the format of the meeting. A partner keeps delaying something. They say next week, but they never deliver. Is it okay to follow up? Next week, it's really vague. You should demand a better answer, right? And also never use this phrase yourself. What does it mean next week? Next week can be Monday, can be Friday, right? But they are 5 days apart, so there is a big difference. So you probably need some clarity here, right? So what you can say, you can follow up, of course, and you can say, could you please specify the day, right? So if, let's say if you receive a response from a partner and they say, we're gonna do it next week, you can respond immediately and you can say, could you please specify the exact day, right? If you don't hear from them, feel free to follow up in 2 days or 3 days. Like standard is 3 days typically, right, to follow up. But really it depends on the situation. Here is a good phrase that you can use to follow up. So write it down. You can say, hi John, just checking in on the task. Let me know if there is anything I can do to help move it forward. If you feel that they need to move the deadline, you can be more direct and just ask them directly and say, would a later deadline work better? Let me know what makes sense for your schedule. A client said, we need to slightly change it, but sent a long list of changes to be made. Is that misleading? Right? So when we use the word slightly or a little bit, right? Or a few changes, we need to make just a few changes, We need to change this a little bit, or we need to slightly change this. Well, this happens really often because native English speakers, they like to downplay requests to sound polite and not to sound super pushy, right? So that's why you actually also can use a little bit when talking about something even big, right? So for example, you can say, we have to slightly change the design of the website. And what you mean by slightly change, we need to change a lot of things. For you as a non-native English speakers, if you are not sure what the client really means here, you can clarify information before you jump into conclusions, right? So here's what you can ask your client. You can reply with something like, thanks for the details. Just to confirm, are these minor tweaks or should we expect a bigger revision? Minor tweaks, changes. Tweaks is another cool, cute word for the changes. Like small changes are called tweaks. Are those minor tweaks or should we expect a bigger revision? If partners use informal language and emojis, should I match their style or stay semi-formal? This is a great question. When you join my course, I teach formal, semi-formal, and informal business English. But then you need to decide which type of English, which type of business communication you should use in your case, in your situation. Of course, in tech, formal style is rarely used. Almost never. So it's semi-formal or even informal style. But sometimes clients, especially if they are younger, they use informal style even in emails. So they can use emojis in emails, for example, and they use really relaxed language, right? Conversational style. What do you do in this case? Well, you observe, right? Here's a rule of thumb for you. A rule of thumb, it's like a general rule. The rule of thumb here is to observe, is to see, to observe and notice what other people are doing. So if you see that your client is using more relaxed tone of communication, informal tone of communication, uses emojis, go ahead and copy, mirror their style. So yeah, you can do the same thing, but like I said, be careful with emojis. Don't go overboard. Even if they do it, it's on them, okay? We still want to be professional because remember, they are a client, you are not a client, right? So you still have to, you know, there should be some boundaries that you should never cross with a client. Otherwise, you'll never know, you know, what can happen. And speaking about emojis, make sure you use emojis that they understand. Because sometimes, depending on the culture, again, for example, in Ukrainian culture, we use brackets, parentheses, as a smiley face. But in English-speaking cultures, people don't understand what it means. And I guess this is it for our Sunday series, Ask Anna. I hope you enjoyed this format. Let me know what you think of it. If you really liked it, I'm going to keep doing it. Drop your questions in the comments. I'll review them. And in the next video, your questions will get answered. Well, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share this video with your colleagues who might have similar questions. And till the next time.